something a little bit different in this video. You'll have seen by the title. Also, by the way, if you can hear a sort of breathing sound, that's my dog. He's just there. He's sort of led next to me. He's settled, so he's very noisy. So if you can hear breathing, that's what that is. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about the upcoming series 14, season 1, however you want to refer to it. But whilst we do that, we're also going to be playing a bit of Solitaire with this pack of cards. Now, you'll notice this is quite an old pack of cards. It's from around Series 6, 2011. It's from the old Kids magazine, Doctor Adventures, which is a magazine I got as a kid. And so I've obviously had these cards for many years. But these are the only Doctor Who playing cards I have, where I've got a full set at least. I had looked at getting, there is a set, I think it might be a Titan who released them through Forbidden Planet, which is a bit more up to date, sort of Series 12 themed, I think, with, Jodie and her companions and stuff, and Sasha's Master. They're not currently available at the moment, as it happens. It was really nice and sunny earlier. The sun's gone in a bit. Hopefully it comes back out, brightens up again. That dog is noisy, isn't he? Crikey. Anyway, but yeah, I had hoped to get a more up-to-date pack. I was not able to, so we're using these. And so you can see the Series 6 themed, or sort of that era. So you've got Daleks here. Your suits are Daleks. 1, Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Jack is always Rory, Queen is always Amy, King is always the Doctor. You've got Cybermen and the Blues. Again, Rory, Amy, Doctor. Ace is, Purple, sorry, is Weeping Angels. Rory, Amy, Doctor. And your Dark Blues, you've got your Silence. So peak Series 6 when the Silence were the next big thing. And again, Rory, Amy, Doctor. So we're going to play a bit of Solitaire, so I'll start shuffling these, I suppose. But while we play, I wanted to have a bit of a discussion. I had been sort of meaning to find a way of, I wanted to talk about the show at the moment and my thoughts and feelings going into the new series with Ncuti. We're a couple of weeks away, and if you recall some of my previous videos, if you watch my videos, my sort of reaction videos to the previous episodes, the first 4 episodes of this new era of RTD2, you will know that my thoughts and opinions have not been massively positive, generally speaking. So I didn't want to just do another sort of largely audio and images video, which I enjoyed doing those videos. They're simple enough to do, and I think they work well for that format, but I didn't want to do that for this. Partially because I just wanted to do something on camera, and because I don't want to just be negative. Now, that's not to say all my thoughts and feelings at the moment are definitely negative, but it just means that, based on, they're not entirely positive, you know what I mean, either. So that's why I'm doing this, with this 13-year-old pack of cards. And also, I just like Solitaire, so let me try and frame this a little bit. Try and keep these cards sort of in frame as much as possible. Which I might struggle with here. So this might be a bit of a jumbled game. But we'll see, we'll make it work. There we go. Hang on, that needs to be turned over, doesn't it? There we are. What's that? 2 of reds. King of reds. So, just to sort of recap my thoughts and feelings of the era so far, the previous 4 episodes. The Star Beast, I really didn't care for on initial viewing. On a second watch, I enjoyed it more, but I still didn't love it. While Blue Yonder, I thought was fantastic. Easily the best of the 4 episodes so far. Just a great script. And there was a 6 of reds. A great script. Great performances. Yeah, I loved it. The giggle has moments that I enjoy, but on reflection, I don't think it really works. I think the bi-generation was not a great idea personally, and I was not much impressed by the toy maker, to be honest. With things like the Spice Up Your Life sequence and stuff, I didn't really care for. And the Chooch on Ruby Road, while I really liked Ncuti, I wasn't much impressed by the story. I realised I had a weird bias against Millie Gibson that I had to kind of work out in my head. So I didn't love that story either. So those are sort of my thoughts going into the new series. What I'm going to do as well with this, because they're not traditional suits. I think it's red, a blue, a purple and a navy. So I'm going to basically say reds, the Daleks are hearts, the Cybermen are, let's say, spades, the Silence is club, and a Weeping Angel is diamond. So red and purple and blue and navy is how I'm going to stack them. Okay. I think I recall now, I had looked at these cards beforehand about possibly doing a Solitaire video, but because they're not traditional suits, I sort of poo-pooed the idea. But clearly, I've gone back back on that now. I've ignored that. Oh, look at that ace of spades, isn't it? We've got a six of angels there. I'm gonna put these. If I put that up there, you can just about see it, can't you? Yeah. So we'll make what progress we can here. They don't stack, do they? No. I have to remind myself of my own rules then. So, how am I feeling about the show at the moment and going into this new series? I'm going to say cautiously optimistic, but not necessarily cautiously. I think Ncuti Gatwa, is a fantastic performer, and so I look forward to seeing more of his Doctor, and really I think he is the thing that is making me really intrigued and excited. Another ace there. Because he's just so great, he's got such a great presence. It's another ace. Oh my god, okay. And a 2. Oh, and a 4 there. We'll probably want to shuffle these again. We'll do a game, and then I'll reshuffle and do another, I think. But yeah, I'm excited to see. Oh god, yeah. I'm excited to see more of Ncuti, definitely. Because I think that he's fantastic. The thing about the release, the airing dates and the midnight release dates, the midnight iPlayer broadcasts and stuff, for me personally doesn't really affect me particularly, and it in a way actually is better for me. I work in a pub, so I'm usually on a Saturday evening, and in fact, 2 out of the 3 60th anniversary specials I was not able to watch live because I was working, so I watched them when I got home. Back a stack on either, can it? We'll put it on that one. So I didn't watch the Star Beast or Wild Blue Yonder live. I watched them at about 1 a.m. So for me, personally, the fact that the episodes are dropping at midnight on iPlayer doesn't really bother me, and in a way is more ideal for me. But I understand people's complaints and people's grievances with that, and I understand, especially because it feels like the US is getting the priority, and is getting the priority over the UK for the sake of broadcasting all at the same time. Maybe this is the only good way of doing that, but considering it's a British show, it's always been a British show, that does feel like a bit of a slap in the face. I understand why people are annoyed by that, and it's the first time that I felt the Disney deal was really affecting the show. That can't go anywhere, can it? Yeah, that stacks there. God. So that's a bit of a weird kind of a situation. Oh, am I better? Am I better stacking that there or there, do you think? I'll put it here, just because it gives me a bit more room, I think. And then these go here. No. Oh no, oh no. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that goes there. Oh, these cards are confusing to play with. In terms of what we've actually seen of the series in trailers and stuff, yeah, I think it looks interesting. I think it's pretty weird that the Disney Plus trailer was so overexposed. That's an odd mistake. I think it's weird that the BBC version just cuts out at the end, just freezes, but you can still hear the Disney Plus like click, the snap. You know what I mean? That's odd. But I thought it was good. I thought, you know, using a Bowie song is a real show of like, yeah, we've got money now. That really works for me. Yeah, that sucks on there, doesn't it? So, I think the series looks interesting. There's elements of it that I'm not much interested in. The mystery box aspects of it. Who is Mrs. Flood? What's going on with Susan Twist? Is she the meddling monk? I think I've said, you know, before, I don't really care about those things. And it's kind of a bit, yeah, I don't know, I just, like, that doesn't interest me. So that aspect of the series that's not the thing that's going to get me hooked at all, or keep me invested. But I suppose I'll start talking about some of the episodes. Obviously, we have the episode titles now. I think generally they're fine. It's hard to judge what the episodes themselves will be like based on the titles. I don't really care for episode 1's title though, Space Babies. I don't think it's a particularly good title, to be honest. I might be stuck here. Am I stuck? Am I already stuck? I might already be stuck. But yeah, I don't think that's a very good title. But we'll see. It looks interesting. It's interesting that there's a bit of a horror aspect to it, and the monster. I think it's called the Bogeyman. Looks good. Episode 2, The Devil's Cord, which is a title we had for a while. Yeah, I think I'm stuck here. That looks fine. I'm not much of a Beatles fan. We found out recently that it seems like there's not going to be any Beatles music in it, which is a disappointment. Is Jinx Monsoon's character called the Maestro? Do we know that? Right, I'm going to kind of cheat a bit and just go one card at a time, I think. Just to speed up a bit. But yeah, looks fine. Episode 3, of course, is written by Stephen Moffat, which initially when that news broke I did not care for that at all. However, the more I sort of think about it in regards to, in the classic series, having a writer like Robert Holmes or Terrance Dicks come back, in like the 5th or 6th Doctor era, years after they'd been the script editors themselves. When I sort of consider it in that, from that perspective, it kind of, I got on board with it more, and ultimately I now am kind of looking forward to seeing what Moffat is going to do. What's he going to do differently? What is this episode going to be like? It could be a standout of the series. I can't be stuck again, can I? There we go. Some of the other episodes, episode 4 and 5, we don't really know much about. I'm not going to say too much. Episode 6, I'm intrigued by because it's the only episode of the series with brand new writers, Kate Herron and Brian Redman. I'm very intrigued for that. What I'm not intrigued for is to find out the identity of Jonathan Groff's character, because I don't know if you're aware of the theory that's been going around that he is playing a recasted Captain Jack Harkness, which personally I do not want to be true. I think that, leave that character in the past. We don't need him anymore. I think, as much as I like the character, not John Barrowman, but I like the character of Captain Jack, but I don't think it's necessary to bring the character back. But I just have a sneaking suspicion that probably is going to be who he's playing, and I am going to be disappointed. But hey-oh, so be it. And then episodes 7 and 8 we think are probably a 2-part finale. We don't really know much about. The thing that I am still not massively on board with is this whole season 1 business. I think that, quite frankly, it's a bad call. I think it's the wrong decision to try and sort of reboot it a little bit, as not reboot it, but to try and frame it as a season 1, because I think it will just confuse people. The amount of comments and stuff I've seen from people online, if you look at when a trailer gets dropped on Twitter or whatever, I see a lot of comments from people going, "Oh, I've never watched Doctor Who before. Do I need to watch the old stuff? Do I need to watch any of the rest of it?" Now you would think that calling this season 1 would imply no, and I suppose that's the point of it, right? However, I think that everyone knows that Doctor Who is a show that has been going for a long time. They know it's got a long history. I think and they know it's been on recently, within the past couple of years. I think if you turn around and go, no, this is season 1, what you will end up doing is kind of confusing your new viewers into going, wait, so is it just like a total reboot? Is it not even anything to do with that old stuff. But of course, it is something to do with that old stuff. You've got returning elements, you've got Unit, you've got Rose Noble, you've got Mel, you've got the aspect of things being more supernatural as a result of the toy maker. You've got Mavity, that's still, which is following on from the 60th anniversary specials, which are obviously following on from the previous 59 years of the show. There's the whole storyline of the Doctor and Donna, which you're not really going to know what's happening if you've not seen Series 4. It heavily references the events of, the 11th, 12th and 13th Doctor's eras, specifically the Flux and the revelation of the Timeless Child. It brings back a villain from the 1960s. So if you go into this new series and you go, oh, who are this Unit guys, and who's this Rose Noble, and who's Mel Bush, and what's going on here, and you go back to the 60th anniversary, well then you're just going to get even more confused. You're like, what's the Flux? So you go back to the previous series, but you also go, well, who are Amy and Clara and Bill, and what's all this stuff with Donna? And then you go back to Series 4, but then to understand the character dynamics of Series 4, like how the Doctor and Donna met, you go back to the Runaway Bride, but then to understand who this Rose person is that the Doctor was talking about, you go back to Series 2, but then he's regenerated, so you go back to Rose again. So it kind of, the way it's been set up, it still takes you back to the same place, almost. This game is finished, by the way, so I'm going to reset. I lost. But I just find it very odd, the way it's been presented. I think that you just call it, in the promotional stuff, it's just like new series, and you frame it as like it's kind of a fresh start, it's a new beginning, in the same way that they did with Series 5 and Series 11, which I think Series 11 especially, regardless of what you think of the quality, and I'm not getting into all that, I think it's a much easier jumping on point for a new viewer than the Church on Ruby Road, for example. Because ultimately, I don't think anyone's going to go into Doctor Who not knowing what it is, not understanding that it's a show that has existed before, and you just pick it up whenever, it's one of those things, I think the show should just occasionally kind of naturally reset the order, but you don't have to reset the numbering, it doesn't have to be an actual reset. The numbering of the resetting of the numbering in 2005 made sense because the show had been off the air for 15, 16 years, but and it kind of become a little bit forgotten and a bit of a joke and a thing of the past, but it's popular now. It has its fan base, it has its place in culture. I don't think a numbering reset is necessary. And I think the way it's been done is very confusing. I think if you had to put it on Disney Plus and you call it Season 1 on Disney Plus, sure, fine. But I think on like the iPlayer and the inevitable physical releases, I think it should be Series 14 still. I think the Season 1 thing is stupid. And I think could end up being almost more confusing to a new viewer. Because if you're setting it out as a brand new, whole new starting point, you reset the season numbering and we're going from the start again, but then you're referencing lots of things from the past and characters from the past and stuff. I just think it's confusing. And silly, to be honest. and it feels a bit, I don't know, maybe it was a Disney thing, but I don't like it, and not just because I don't like the fact they reset the numbering. I think that it actually is just more confusing. Like, I think you can trust people to just go, sure, okay, it's series 14, but like it's brand new. You just make it clear that you don't need to know any previous stuff. You just jump on board. And I think it kind of makes the previous era feel like a failure, in a way. So I just think it's a bad decision. I'm sure there were other things I was going to talk about. I mean, I probably would have talked about the situation with Millie Gibson and her being slated by the UK gutter press, getting fired and being replaced, and it being a sort of a repeating of seemingly a repeating of the situation with Christopher Eccleston in 2005. But we have very recently, just I think yesterday or the day before, had the announcement that there's going to be 2 companions in the second series. Verada Sethu is joining, but Millie Gibson is not leaving. So that point is kind of null and void. I do think it was weird. I thought it was a bit odd that nothing was said when Millie Gibson, who was still like 19, 20, 2 Rorys, was being slated and being called a diva and saying she got sacked and stuff. I think the fact that no one on the production came out and said anything. I know Ncuti put that thing on his Instagram, didn't he? But none of the high ups said, just don't believe everything you're hearing. And even if if you're not gonna out and out deny it because you want to keep the reveal of there's 2 companions, you just say, we do not, we stand with Millie Gibson, and this the treatment that she's received in the press and the way people are talking about her is unacceptable, and we don't stand for it. Just something like that, But what am I doing? What am I doing? I suppose I'm sort of cheating a little bit there, right? Oh well. Oops. But yeah, just something like that, just to sort of come to a defence while she was away on holiday and all this stuff was coming out about her. It would have been nice, but alas. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I have a lot more thoughts, but for some reason there's nothing really there's nothing particularly coming to mind at the moment that I can think to say. That's an 8 of Angels, by the way. I think that I wonder how successful the show is going to be, and I still hope that that I like it and that I enjoy it, but I can only go on my thoughts and feelings from what we've seen so far, and I haven't been particularly won over by what I've seen so far from this era of the show. Which is, a shame. And I think I'm I don't know that I would say I'm worried, but I think it was really I will say it was a little bit disheartening to see that 6 out of the 8 episodes of the new series are being written by Russell, and another one is being written by Stephen Moffat. So there's only one episode being written by new writers, and yeah, it's 2 new writers, but they're both on the same episode. I think that is a real shame, and I think arguably that's indicative of Russell being too afraid to sort of loosen his grip, so to speak. Kind of let the show breathe. I hope for the second series that we get more guest writers, and I think that we will. A similar thing happened in 2005. Russell wrote 8 out of 13 episodes. But if you consider, let's say that this first series, if we include the Church on Ruby Road, is 9 episodes, let's assume that episodes 7 and 8 are a 2-part finale. So that's 8 stories. Russell's written 6 of them. And you think series 1, there's 10 stories, and Russell wrote 8, was it another 8? No, he can't write 8. 6 stories. Rose End of the World, Aliens of London, Long Game, Boomtown, Partner, 6 out of 10. I just think it's, I would have really appreciated just an extra, an additional writer or 2, and I think it kind of, I know some people will say like, well, yeah, but I'd rather it be good than having new writers for the sake of it, which I kind of get, but when I'm sat here and I don't think that what we're getting is very good anyway, I would rather have the new writers, please. I mean, I don't think what we're getting is bad, but I think that when it was announced Russell was coming back, a lot of people possibly hoped that things would be, it would be like the golden age of the show again, and hang on, I've messed up. Did that go there? I'm going to put that there. That might be wrong. It's been a bit of a shambles, really, isn't it? But I think people sort of thought that we go back to the show being a massive hit and every episode being an event, like it used to be in the good old days. I don't feel it's like that. And I think that even little things like the very first shot of the Star Beast, I think is embarrassing. I think it's embarrassingly bad. I don't think that initial bit was there to begin with. It can't have been, because the green screening is awful. They have to reuse a shot of Rose from The Giggle, I think initially there would the exposition about Donna and what happened and all that stuff. I think that was just in the dialogue, and I think they didn't trust the audience to keep up with it, so to speak. So they put it all in the beginning, but I think that opening sequence is bad, and I think even Rachel Talalay, the director, thinks that it's bad. Right? Just a very, very weird sequence, yeah. And it doesn't look good. So I don't know. I think that I've said for a while that my sort of worry of the title sequence as well. I still think that looks terrible, especially when you put it in a trailer alongside some genuinely incredible CGI shots. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But I've been saying for a while that I does feel like Russell and the producers, Phil Collinson, Julie Gardner, Jane Tranter, it feels like a group of people who used to do this, 15 years ago, have come back to do it because they know how to do it, and they've gone, oh yeah, well, we'll make it good because we know what we're doing. And I think that they've got all the gang back together, but they're not challenged like they used to be. They're not, they're not challenging themselves. I don't think they are. It kind of feels like, to me, it kind of feels like they're just going, that they're just assuming that it'll be good because they're making it, which, I understand that sounds like I'm making a comment about people's characters and what they think of themselves. I'm not saying they're doing that deliberately, but sort of that's how it comes across to me. And I think, for all we've said, that this will be really exciting because the Russell who comes back now in 2023, he's not going to be the same Russell who left in 2008, 2009. But I think you look at a story like The Giggle, and it feels very familiar, like the ending of that story is Journey's End. Like we've done this before. The Toymaker dancing to Spice Up Your Life is the Master dancing to Voodoo Child in The Sound of Drums. We've done this before. And I know that you could argue that, well, Chibnall copied that as well in Power of the Doctor. It's like, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that's a weird double standard I have, where I can accept one, but I can't accept another. I just think when it's the same, right? I think for me, the fact, like, the Master dancing to Rasputin, it's like, he's dressed as Rasputin, there's at least a reason I can be like, okay, I understand why this song's in there, and it's not a full, like, dance sequence. He dances for a little bit while the song's on. Whereas a Toymaker, who is like an immortal god being from outside the universe, randomly starts lip syncing to a Spice Girls song for no reason. Is it just because Russell likes the song? I think so. I think it's guff, to be honest. I think it's I just don't see the point in that sequence at all. I don't see why it was necessary in the episode. I don't see why we spent time doing it. I don't understand what the point was. I just felt it was silly and derivative of stuff that Russell has done himself before. Better, you know. So I don't think the era feels as confident as it presents. I think that it, it's marketed very confidently and presented very confidently, but I don't think the actual content of it is as strong as the marketing would have you believe, so to speak. I think that it's I don't know how long Russell is planning on staying. We know it's a good couple of years at least. What I hope is I like the episodes, I like the show. And what I hope is that, we will start to get more new writers, and we will start to, it'll start to feel less familiar. But, I think I'd already said with the Church on Ruby Road, it was, I'm not expecting to love it. I'm kind of happy to step back and let other people love this era. Because I just don't, and that is unfortunate. Personally, I wish I did, of course. Okay, we're going to have to go one at a time here. But, yeah, unfortunately, that's just not really it's not really how I'm feeling about it at the moment. Am I stuck again? Well, I mean, obviously that goes there, but I think I'm stuck again here. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. At the moment, I kind of wanted to talk about where I'm at and sort of talk about RTD2 and why I'm kind of worried. And, the thing I really wanted to talk about was the Series 14 Season 1 debate. Because I genuinely think that is just a bad idea. It's a bad decision. But yeah, I might do. I don't know if people like this, if people like the Solitaire idea, the format. I might do more of this sort of thing. If you'd like me to discuss other Who topics, then yeah, by all means suggest them. I'm up for doing that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. So hopefully I enjoy it. Of course, I will be doing reaction videos to, like I did with the previous episodes, with all of the new series. Obviously, we've got 2 episodes releasing at once on the 10th the evening of the 10th, the 11th. So what I will probably do is watch Space Babies episode 1 on the Friday evening, essentially, when it comes out at 12 o'clock. Do a reaction to that, get it up on the Saturday, and then I'll probably watch episode 1, record a reaction, go to bed, wake up, upload my reaction to episode 1, and whilst I'm doing that, watch episode 2, record a reaction, and get that up on the Sunday. And then from then it'll be, one every week, of course. But I don't want to watch both episodes and do the reaction to both episodes. I want to split them and do 2 videos, and I'll just release them a day apart, I think. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching, sticking with me if you have done. Please do like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. And yes, I will see you all in another video, hopefully. Thank you, and